Louisiana Beer Reviews 29, Schlitz Malt Liquor. In 1965, the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company introduced Schlitz Malt Liquor, and it is at 5.9% alcohol. When this beer originally came out, it was targeted to white, upper middle class audiences. Around the mid-80s, we started to notice that it was shifting and being marketed heavily toward black urban audiences, which it still is, but today it sort of has a following among white and black groups. And I would say that Schlitz Malt Liquor has sort of become like the flagship of the Schlitz line. You see it very often. It's been expanded to have 4 malt liquors, which I'll describe in a moment. In 1982, the Schlitz Brewing Company was bought out by Stroh's Brewing Company. And then Stroh's struggled along, acquiring a lot of different little companies, and then they themselves sold out to Pabst Brewing Company in '99. So Pabst has been the owner since then. You're never going to see any television or hear any radio advertisements for Schlitz Malt Liquor. That stopped really in the 80s. You will occasionally in inner city neighborhoods see billboards for the Schlitz Malt Liquor, however, and you'll see point of sale ads in liquor stores, signs, and decals, whatnot. I'm going to show you a few things. Here's a classic 12-ounce bottle of Schlitz Malt Liquor. This is from the old Stroh's days. They've always had the same color scheme, the electric blue with the silver, and the very energetic bull. Here's a design from the 90s. Also, when they put it in the big cans, they had the electric bull with the white brick wall behind it. So this is sort of a classic design. It's no longer used, but you see it kind of connotes the power of the beer. In 1984, they added Schlitz Red Bull, which today is called Schlitz Red Bull XL Extra Long Malt Liquor. I purchased this in New York City in 2010. It's also 5.9% alcohol. It has a different taste. Hard to describe the taste. They said it has a long taste, and it does. It has a drawn out kind of a overly sweet taste. It's not bad though. In the mid-90s, they came out with Schlitz Bull Ice, which is 8.1% alcohol. This is not sold anywhere around Louisiana. I've never seen it actually on sale anywhere, or for sale anywhere, I mean, so I would like to pick up some Bull Ice. The only Schlitz Malt Liquor product sold in Louisiana is the OML, the original malt liquor. In the 2000s, around 2005, they came out with Schlitz High Gravity, VSL, very smooth lager. This is their champion of strength. It's 8.5% alcohol. I thought it was very strong when I tried it, but it's very good. This is about as high as it goes that I can take with these strong malt liquors. The rest, they taste so bad. You know, the ones you see that are 11% alcohol, I just can't stand them. But this, I thought, was very tasty. Anyway, here's a modern bottle, 18-ounce bottle of Schlitz Malt Liquor. You see Schlitz sold in anywhere from 12-ounce cans and bottles, cases, 12 packs, all the way up to 40-ounce bottles. So you see it around, and it gets a C- on Beer Advocate. It gets a fair rating on The Beer and Me. I gave it a C on Beer Advocate, and I gave it a fair rating on The Beer and Me. On Rate Beer, it gets a very low rating. I gave it a higher rating than average, but it gets a below average rating on Rate Beer. But like always, I'm going to try to keep an open mind with this and see how it turns out. So we're going to open up the bottle. Okay, don't see any smoke, but we'll see what happens. That's usually not a good sign, but give it a good pour. I have some old literature from the 70s, some old advertising, and it shows Schlitz with the old Milwaukee, Schlitz, Schlitz Light, and Schlitz Malt liquor on. It's pretty nice looking. Anyway, with Schlitz Malt liquor, you do get a very clear golden appearance. Pretty thick white head, although this one didn't thicken up as much as it normally does when I pour it. Get quite a lot of bubbles there, a good amount of carbonation. So let's see what we get with the aroma. And you get a pretty creamy head, I've noticed. Sweetness. Typical beer smell, but you have some other characteristics here. Here we go. Okay. In a way, you can sort of pick up on the light alcohol aroma with this. You can see the head is not hanging around. It has more of a bread smell than your typical beer, but it has a beer aroma. Not a bad aroma. It's faint. It's not a strong aroma. You'd open this up, it doesn't come out really heavy. At 5.9% alcohol, it's higher than average. Most beers are around 4.3 to 4.9. Budweiser, for instance, 5% alcohol. And the regular Schlitz is 4.7%. Well, I haven't had Schlitz malt liquor since the summer of 2010 probably, so let's go ahead and give it a taste and let's see what I can determine here. You do have an overriding sweet quality to it. Up front you get the grains, the corn predominantly, barley. The hop profile is minimal. It does have hops in the back end of the taste, but not a lot. With most malt liquors, you really don't have a strong hop profile. And when you look at, if you look at advertisements in the 60s, they talked a lot about the ingredients and how they didn't want a thick head. They wanted it to be flatter than normal beer. They wanted to be smoother than normal beer, and they wanted to have that special characteristic that they weren't allowed to talk about, that being a relatively higher alcohol content. The U.S. government doesn't allow beer companies to refer to the alcohol level as a promotional part of their advertising, and that's why you're going to see the malt liquors, and they're called malt liquor because they had to invent a name. All it is beer. You're going to see them with bulls and eagles and dogs and horses, and they all connote strength, you see. And it's ridiculous in my opinion. You know, the land of the free, you're not free to advertise the way you want. So you can think about that for a minute. But anyway, going back to the taste. It is a harsher taste than regular Schlitz. But it's not a harsh taste. It's harsher than regular Schlitz, but it's not a very harsh taste. But it's more full body for sure. It's a bolder taste. You could almost say it has more taste. But it's smooth. There's no off-putting flavors with it. You could say it's a little better than most malt liquors. I would say it's one of the better ones. The mouthfeel is light to medium. It has a relatively crisp finish, but it's not as dry as the regular Schlitz. The dryness is medium. It's not super dry, but it's on the dry side. Overall, I think it's a very enjoyable beer. I'm going to up my rating from a C to a B. I'm going to go to a B minus. I was going to say C plus, but no, this is good. At least a B minus. And I tell you what, I really like this. I've been drinking the Schlitz malt liquor for years, since '96 when I started to drink beer, and I've always had a lot of respect for it. You can tell it's made with a lot of care, and they take pride in the product. And I would recommend that you would give it a try. If you've never tried malt liquor and you're worried about encountering a harsh taste, this probably would be a good one to start with. You know, maybe Mickey's or Schlitz or Magnum, because they're on the lower end of the potency, and they're a little milder. So this is an enjoyable beer to drink. I would recommend it with seafood, like if you're having a seafood platter or some spicy boiled crawfish. This would really go with it because it would cut that that heat, that spicy heat. So I can't say anything but positive about Schlitz malt liquor. I mean, let me give it one more taste. I got to do this. Laissez les bon temps rouler. This is a good beer. It's got such a tasty taste, a tasty flavor. It's full flavor across the board. It's nothing bland about it. So I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans.